Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sarah. Today, I'm excited to show you the Evergreen Season collection of papers and embellishments from our friends at 49 and Market. It is gorgeous. So let's take a closer look. We can start with our paper pack. And here you'll have 12 double-sided pattern papers measuring 6 by 8 inches. There are 2 each of 12 designs, and you also have 2 extra patterns on the inside front and back cover sheets. So let's flip through here. Just take a look. Absolutely beautiful. The kind of style that we know and love from 49 and Market. You'll have some gorgeous poinsettias and floral elements. Really fun plaid designs, and then of course some script on here, some collaging as well. Everything is in a really nice red and green color combination. Makes it very easy to mix and match the designs together and create really fun and festive designs for the holidays. So then here's our inside back cover, and you can see, of course, the additional bonus design on there. So that is the paper pack. Now to go along, there are also Evergreen mini laser cut elements, and you have 4 sheets here measuring 6 by 8 inches to give you 128 embellishments. You can see them all here on the front cover, and when I flip over the cover, you can see there are some bonus cutout designs on here too. The embellishments just punch right out, and you've got poinsettias as well as some faux ribbons, some frames, and some sentiments and words in here too. So that's your mini laser cuts. Then we also have a set of 44 acetate embellishments. Now, I know this is tricky to see in the package. I'll flip it over and you can see the images. So 44 in here. And again, a variety of sizes and shapes. I've put some onto a piece of white cardstock just so that you can see a little bit better. It's a great way to add some texture and shine to your projects too. And then finally, we have a set of rub-ons. You have 3 6 by 12 inch sheets with gorgeous images, as well as sentiments on here too. You've got an old-fashioned Santa, and then you've got some background elements here as well. And then on the back of the package, you've got this really large kind of collage area here, which I think can easily be put to use on a card project too. Now, of course, everything here today is designed to coordinate beautifully so that you can create really gorgeous cards and other paper crafts for the holidays quickly and easily, and have a lot of fun while you're doing it too. I'm so glad you're here today, and I'm excited to explore the creative possibilities with you. So come play with us. Our first card has a combination of these gorgeous pattern papers plus a collage of laser cuts as a focal and a fun fold over corner accent. Let me show you the papers that I'm working with. Now this one you can see right here is most of the front of my card, but then I've also used this sheet and really just a portion of it here. And that's what I've got right up here in my corner. So what I've done is, rather than using the whole sheet, I've simply cut about a couple of inches square from this top corner, glued that little corner to the front of my card, and then of course I can use all the rest of this sheet for something else. And then I took this complementary sheet, glued it on top except for this top corner, and then folded it over. And a bone folder really comes in handy for this. And then this way I'm able to get 3 of these gorgeous designs all layered together as my top corner accent. It's a really easy way to add an element of interest and some dimension on your card front. Super simple to do. And then my focal area is a faux wood frame. Now this frame is one of the cutouts from the back of the laser cut elements pack, and I've got another one here. So I've just cut that out, and backed it with some really lightly collaged paper from the collection. Glued those two together and put them on the front of my card. And I did have to trim off just a little tiny corner of that so that it would fit underneath my folded over corner. And then I've got a laser cut doily here. I've got some berries. Those are the laser cuts as well. And then with foam tape, I've added the Merry Christmas accent up on top here. Now the two trees are also foam taped in place and they're overlapping that frame. So I have some nice continuity here. And then I've also got the Deck the Halls sentiment. This is also popped up on some foam tape. Then for the inside of my card, I have another laser cut tree, also up on foam tape, plus some laser cut berries. And then I've also got this fun background. The background and then also the sentiment are both rub-ons. Now these are really easy to apply, so let's have a look. I'm going to bring in just a piece of plain white cardstock. And again, my bone folder is going to come in handy for this too. And I have one of these sort of abstract background pieces, and I've just cut out around the outside of that shape, keeping both of the two layers together. So the backing sheet here, I like to keep those together until I know exactly where I want to put this. And then I'll simply position this down. My little trick is to fold up a corner of that acetate just so that I have something to grab onto. Smooth that down with my finger and then use that bone folder to burnish this in place. So I'm using the angled part of my bone folder, and you just need to go around gently but firmly to burnish all of those elements in place, all of the little dots and the edges, and make sure that those all transfer. And then I'll grab onto that corner and gently lift up. Now I can see there's a part that I missed right here, so I'll just pop that down and burnish again. And then there we go. Oops, I've forgotten those two. It's a good thing you can check. Come back and redo it. And let's see. There we go. So I've got my rub-on transferred in place. And this just creates a really nice bit of texture, faux texture and dimension on your cards. And again, that's what I've got going on just as the background here. And I really like how this works so nicely as a foundation for a small collage like this one. I have another rub-on on this card, and this time it's the focal image of my card design. And I just think this floral is so beautiful, and I couldn't wait to put it to use. So here I've applied the rub-on right onto a very subtle background paper. So I've used this open area here, which does give me some very light and very subtle texture and pattern on here. And of course, everything coordinates color-wise as well. So after I've applied my rub-on there, I used my rectangle and scallop cutting dies, my beloved dies, to die cut that shape. Now, of course, you can see here from my well-loved packaging that you will get a series of both straight-edged and scalloped rectangles. So your scallop is going to look like this, and your straight edge, of course, something like this. Again, in a variety of sizes. So I've used my scalloped edge to die cut the floral portion, and then I used the straight edge with some of the gold glitter cardstock to create my mat. Now what I like about this gold glitter cardstock, and it does come on a much larger sheet, 8.5 by 11, what I like about this is that you're able to get this really nice texture and the shine, but it doesn't get glitter all over your craft room, your living room, where all of the places that glitter can find itself. So I like having that as a really nice accent piece, and of course just little hints of gold are sometimes all you need. Now, if you are die cutting with the scalloped edge of things, you will end up not only with the positive, but also the negative of that scallop. And this is a little snippet that I ended up saving because, of course, you can also use this portion as an accent. And that's what I've done, just tucked it underneath this strip of pattern paper that I've got going on as my border. So some nice ways that you can put those to use. A couple of other things I have going on the front of my card. Well, this portion is popped up with foam tape. So I have foam tape underneath the cardstock and underneath the glitter cardstock. Placed down on the front of my card, I have an acetate accent going on over here, which I've just simply glued down using a glue stick. And we'll talk more about this process too in just a second. I have another rub-on, which has just been applied right onto this plaid pattern paper. And then I have a laser cut berry accent tucked underneath here. And the Happy Christmas is another one of the laser cuts, and that has been popped up with some foam tape. So again, lots of dimension on here. I also have some touches of gold with the Diamond Sparkles gemstones, and these come from Hunky Dory, and they're self-adhesive. So I like to pop down 3 of those again to create some balance and add a little bit of shine in here too. Now, speaking of dimension and a little bit of shine, I've also got some dimension on the flower itself. And these are the gold caviar beads. These are 2mm no-hole beads that I've simply glued right onto the rub-on transferred flower. So after the flower has been rubbed on, then I can add in dimension if I want to. Now you can also do these caviar beads on acetate. So I thought what we could do is take a look at gluing acetate and then adding some caviar beads to it. So one question I get a lot, especially when working with acetate, is how to glue it down so that you don't have glue showing through. So whereas normally I'll use a double-sided tape or I'll use my acrylic glue, the white glue, with acetate I really prefer the photo glue stick. And what I'll do is simply flip it over, and I will use just a little bit of the glue stick. You don't need a whole lot. I apply it very sparingly and just in some areas. So you don't need to put glue all over the whole thing. A little bit will do. And then simply place this down. Now it helps that I've got a lot of dark colors on this poinsettia. When things are a little bit lighter, again, you want to have a restrained approach to your adhesive. So then you just simply let that dry and you're ready to go. Now if you want to embellish in the center of that poinsettia, we can add in some of our caviar. So I'm going to use a little bucket here just to control my caviar. And in this case, I am going to use my Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue. And I've got this really nice precision applicator here, which will make it very easy to apply glue just where I want it to go, right in the center of my poinsettia. So set that aside, and then I'm going to sprinkle in some of the caviar beads. Now it's kind of like embossing. You can add a whole lot on here. You can be quite liberal with it, and then just let it dry. So what I like to do is take an acrylic stamping block and pop that on there until that dries. So what I'll do is just let this be in peace until that dries, and then I can add it onto my project if I want to. So that's what I've done here with this rub-on. So you can apply your caviar beads right onto a cardstock or paper surface. You can also add them onto rub-ons, and you can add them onto acetate as well. So it gives you lots of nice options. Then for my card inside, I have some fun pattern paper, and I've got a large abstract acetate piece here onto which I've layered the Merry Christmas acetate message. So I've got 2 layers of acetate on here. Now with this clear Merry Christmas, I was able to simply go right behind some of those black portions of the text, and that will hold it in place really nicely. So again, using the glue stick, it's going to make it quick and simple to add some really fun dimension to your card. For this card, I have a really fun dimensional bow accent and some acetate and some laser cut elements, all highlighting this layered rub-on focal. So there's a lot of layers going on here. And let's start with our layered rub-on to begin with. Okay, I'm going to bring back this piece where we did our original rub-on on here, one of those nice abstract elements. And this is what I've done my layering with. So in your rub-on set, you have 3 words that say joy. So you've got a light green, this darker green, and then you've also got the red, which I've used on my card. And the O in the joy has some pine boughs and some flowers in it, really pretty. You can use this just as it is. You can also adhere one rub-on on top of another rub-on. And so that's what I've done on this card. I've added the joy on top of a kind of a light green abstract background, something similar to this. So let's have a look here. I'm going to take off that liner sheet from your rub-on. And so this is what it will look like if you just place it down onto your background. But if you want to have some of that extra dimension going around there, you can pop this down on top of another rub-on. So I'm going to smooth this down, fold up that corner again, and once again bring in my bone folder and do some burnishing. And this way I'm able to get some more of that sort of abstract texture, which I really like. I think it's really great that 49 and Market puts in so many of those large abstract images because they work beautifully as backgrounds for not only laser cut elements as we saw with our first card, but also with other rub-ons. Okay, so let's see how I'm doing here. Lift this up and start walking this off. Yep, I missed some. That's okay. Now the nice thing here is that you may be a little bit surprised thinking, well, if you apply one rub-on on top of another rub-on, that you might accidentally remove the first rub-on, and that doesn't happen, which is fantastic. Goodness, I really wasn't very thorough with this. I'll give it another go here. We'll see how we do. Alrighty. So there I have my word joy on top of this other rub-on image, and it just creates something a little bit fuller and more dimensional. So a lot of fun to be able to do that. And so then what I've done on my card front is die cut that word joy with my rectangle and scallop dies. And for the bow, as well as the scalloped mat on here, I'm using some cardstock, and in this case, I'm also using a die. So the cardstock pack that I'm using, let me grab this here for you. This is the Botanical Library cardstock set, 12 by 12. And you've got some really nice shades of green in here, which I've used for my bow. There are also some really nice neutral tones that go beautifully with today's collection. So as I mentioned, I'm using a die for my bow, and this is called, guess what? The bow dies. Quick and easy, which I really like. Now in this case, you've got 2 bow sizes. So you have a small, and that's going to be created with these 3 elements, and a larger shape, which will be using these 3 elements. I'm using the larger shape, so you can see kind of how it is in proportion to the rest of my card. And of course, you've got your images on here, hot off the press. They're always going to give you some instructions and a project idea as well. But let's take a look here. When you die cut your shapes, you'll have one piece that looks kind of like a pair of goggles, and you'll have another piece that looks like, I don't know, maybe some arrows. And then you will also have this third little centerpiece on there. So I'm going to move aside these 2 for right now, because the only thing you need to really manipulate are the goggles. And so what you'll do is take one end And you see how there's a tab on here. You're going to bring this tab to match the center, but not folding it, just gently rolling it so that you still have some space in between here. And this is where hot off the presses cardstock is really nice because it's a perfect weight for this. It's not so thick that it doesn't bend, but it's not so flimsy that it won't hold its shape. So what I'll do here is then take some of my Cosmic Shimmer glue and I'll add just a little bit here in the center and then kind of roll this up and then hold it until that glue dries. Now you could use a paper clip for this. I happen to have, for some mysterious reason, like any good crafter, I happen to have a lot of little clothespin embellishments, and I don't know what I bought them for originally, but they really come in handy for holding this in place while the glue dries. And so then after the glue dries, you'll have something that looks like this, and you can repeat this then with the other side. So same process as before. Hold that down with some glue and let that dry, and then you will have your bow. So it looks like that, and then like so. Then from here, you can take your little centerpiece, again, position some glue on there, and then just kind of wrap it around to the back, glue that, and then you've got the finishing center of your bow. And what about this piece? Well, this just goes underneath. And so then eventually you will have your layered bow like so, but this will be glued in place, of course. So then you can add this to your card project, and I really like it as an accent piece, like on a corner of a focal like this. And here I've got some acetate pine bows. I've also got this laser cut foliage bit. Now this is popped up on some foam tape so that it overlaps nicely with my layered focal. I have one of these little paper clips as well as the Believe in Magic. This is a laser cut piece. This is popped up on some foam tape here. And then of course my pattern paper right in the center. The front of my card has been covered with that green cardstock from the Botanical Library collection. And then for my card inside, I have some more pattern papers, more of that beautiful cardstock, and then the Season's Greetings acetate and a laser cut label to finish it off. Before we start looking at our final card, I wanted to bring back in this poinsettia acetate piece. It's been a couple of minutes and the glue has dried, so you can see how beautifully that will hold those caviar beads. So I've got another nice piece that I can use on another card. Quick and easy. I've also got some more of the caviar here on these poinsettias, the laser cut, which I've used to accent my card. And on this card, I've got a really fun and easy window technique. And behind here, I think you can see with my hand in the window, I've got some snowfall acetate. So this is, again, a really fun way to create dimension on your cards. So I've first covered the front of my card with the trees pattern paper. And then I used a square die from the Square and Scallop die set, another one of my go-to sets, as you can tell. And I've used that to create the window on the front of my card. So let's have a look at this process. So if you can imagine that my card front is already covered with my pattern paper, then I'm going to take one of my square dies. This also works with the rectangles or the ovals or the circles. Any shape will do. And secure this down with some low-tack tape. And I like the tape from Hunky Dory for this. And then I run this through my die cutting machine. It's really important to make sure that your card is open so that you're only die cutting through this front flap. And then you will have a piece that looks like this. So you've got your window die cut in the front. And then what you can do is, if you want to, you can add a frame around here, again using this nested scallops. So to do that, I'm going to use the same square shape that I used to create my window in the first place. Take this tape off. And I'll use that on my gold glitter cardstock in this case. And then I'll take the nested scallop shape. And you can die cut these separately. I like to do them in one go because they fit perfectly. So nest those two together, secure them down again using some of that low tack tape. Run that through your die cutting machine. Then you will have a piece that looks like this. And from there, you can glue it around the window that you've die cut in the front of your card. And again, this works beautifully whether you're using the gold glitter cardstock or another color of cardstock. It just creates a nice bit of polish around there. And then from here, I can go ahead and either leave this window open as it is, or add in another layer. And in this case, I wanted to add in some of the Snowfall acetate from Hot Off the Press. Now I know it's a little tricky to see this, even if I position it down like so. So let me show it to you with some black behind it, and you can see that beautiful snowfall pattern. It also has a bit of a texture to it as well, which is really nice. And that's what I've used just right on the inside of the card. So I've glued that to this side of the card, again using my glue stick pretty sparingly around the outside edges, and that's going to give me that beautiful window treatment in here. So this is a lot of fun, quite easy to use as well, and again just adds in some extra shine. Now the other fun thing is that you can apply a rub-on to the acetate, as I've done right here. So this little sentiment right in there is one of the rub-ons. Then in the corner, I have some more acetate pine bows. I have a couple of the poinsettia laser cuts with the caviar accents, and I have a rub-on down here at the bottom. I also inked around the outside edges of my card using the Golden Glitz ink pad from Sukaniko, and this is a pigment gold ink pad, and add some really nice shading around the outside edges there. Then for the inside of my card, you caught a peek of that earlier, I have some more of that beautiful pattern paper that I've lined this with, and I chose this one because it would have that nice open area in here so that whatever is showing through my window isn't distracting from the other elements on my card front. And I've just used a small laser cut to accent the flower printed onto the pattern paper. And that is our final project of the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at 49 and Market for these gorgeous supplies that have been so much fun to work with. And a big thank you to you for joining me today. We're so glad that you're here, and we're really happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.